Good morning, Keith Hayes, Rouser Radio, Lewes, East Sussex in the United Kingdom, not Lewes, Delaware, although we feel very close to the people there, and I hope that perhaps there is somebody, because it'd be about, 2 o'clock in the morning, perhaps there's somebody with insomnia listening to us out there. Well, good morning. It's Thursday morning, the 7th of March 2019. As I just said, we are broadcasting from Lewes in East Sussex in the UK, one of the tiny towns of Mirador country, which stretch from Battle to Brighton along the south coast. East Sussex, very rural. Brighton, which is a wonderful holiday town. I suppose Eastbourne is a fair size, but most of the towns along this stretch of coast are well under 100,000 people, and a delightful part of the world it is. And of course the property developers have got their eye on it all the time. There are always suggestions that we should build here and build there. Well, today we'll find out who wants to build where, because it's referendum day in Lewes, and the referendum is for everybody to have their say on the Lewes neighbourhood plan. In other words, a master plan, a blueprint, if you like, for the next 10 to 15 years on what should happen in Lewes, how it should develop, and so on. It is only a blueprint. I don't think that anybody is legally bound to follow it, but it will give some idea of what the authorities are thinking and whether they've got the backing of the public or not. So get out there and vote if you're eligible to vote in Lewes, and if you're not, then watch for the result, because it could be an indicator of what's happening up and down the country. One thing I would say that really upsets me, I suppose, not upsets me, but causes me great wonder, is that we have to have a compulsion to build all over the place, and we hear about everybody must have a house and so on. Well, if everybody must have a house, that's fine, but nobody does much thinking about how we might build these houses and where we might build them and so on. Is suddenly somebody in government spots a place, there's nothing there, let's dump this new town right in the middle of the countryside, without any real thought about what's going to happen to the countryside. And yet now there is a study out that shows that kids who live closer to parkland, closer to the countryside, closer to where the air is healthier, but certainly the surroundings are much nicer because of trees and flowers and animals and being able to walk amongst greenery, and yeah, you've got the picture, that they're healthier than those that don't. Now, can you tie that into the fact that in all our major cities there is an epidemic of knife crime? What are we doing? Are we saying let's create more and more centres where we can have kids growing up killing one another? And Theresa May and Jared Khan are fighting about whether they should give more money or whether it's austerity that has caused it. To me, it's quite simple. There aren't enough bobbies on the beat. They're all too busy in cars out of the major centres. It takes a second to stick a knife into somebody. It takes a copper, often 15 or 20 minutes, to get to the site of the crime. Why don't we just simply put more bobbies back on the beat? But then again, you see, I'm always accused of having simplistic approaches to things, and I deliberately. No, I don't. I'm a simple man. The idea that we should have bobbies on the beat is all very well. But, you know, I lived in and worked in Northern Ireland for a long time, and I remember talking to one of the advertising agencies who had got the contract for recruiting what was then the RUC. I suppose it's now the Northern Ireland Police Force. The recruitment was fine, the budget was healthy. But they said, we sit and we talk and we get briefed by the police, and actually what it is it's a PR stunt. It's not that they don't want people to join the RUC, to join the police, but the recruitment is always so slow that doing this sort of campaign really is to reassure the public that they are looking. They can't find people to join. Now, that was an unusual situation because, particularly back when it was the RUC, there was a lot of terrorist activities. And if you became a policeman, you knew that you were putting your life into your hands, and it wasn't a good situation. But then again, is that any different to where cities have now found themselves in the middle of really violent crime, where even a young girl can't sit in the park, a young girl with a bright future, a young girl who was involved in her community, a young girl that had actually been invited to number 10. Are we asking police or people to be recruited into being police in that sort of environment? How many are going to rush to the standard? Be very interesting. But the point is, I think that the politicians have lost the plot again. Here they're arguing about whether it's because they have money or don't have money, or they could do it with more money. Even if there's more money, are there more people to fill that role? I don't know what the answer is down here, but somebody should ask the question. Because it's all very well to bicker while people are being stabbed, but if, in fact, we can't get more police, no matter how much money we have released, do we have to look once again at another solution? Perhaps what I'm calling for this morning is, let's take a third or fourth look at what we're doing. Let's have a look at a few strategies and see whether, first of all, we can knit them together. Because you can guarantee that one thing that about Westminster, and I suppose to some extent it's a bit like that down here, is departments vie for cash. They don't talk to one another. They're almost in a conflict situation. They're being competitive with one another, and so they don't tell one another what's happening. And that's why, to some extent, you get 16 people all digging holes on one little stretch of road because they've all got different things to do, and no department ever spoke to the other to know that they were all going to do it on the same time and on the same piece of road. Simplistic? Well, yeah, but dear old Ronald Reagan, he was very good at telling stories so that people understood what government was about. And hopefully, perhaps some of these suggestions that I have would help people understand what our problems are, and that we do need a whole lot of different thinking, I think, is the answer. Different thinking. Are we getting it? I don't think so. Oh, well, Keith, you've got off to a good start this morning. Round. Let's just hear a thing called Fern. Fern. Some of this music that I play may seem a little esoteric to some ears. The one thing I find is that I get myself all wound up ranting about something, and then I play a piece of music like that. And most of the music that I play is relatively calming. I play a piece of music like that, and I think, oh, come on, Keith, calm down a bit, boy, calm down, be a bit more rational. All right, today is polling day in Lewes. The Lewes regional plan for the district is up for either approval or rejection today. The neighbourhood plan is really a blueprint of the development thought out, the development strategy for the next 10 to 15 years in Lewes and the surrounding areas. So it is vital to the town. And reading between the lines, it seems to me that it's about 50-50. I look religiously through the group Facebooks. I look at some of the comment that you see in the media, and I would say that all in all, it looks as if that there is a great lobby for against and some great public rush of support for. So it will be interesting to see what the decision is. I suppose if it's a negative one, if the plan is rejected, they have to go back to the drawing board. Good thing or bad thing? I don't know. I would have thought that a lot of effort has gone into this plan, and it may well be that over the next little while, that if they have to go back, it's going to take quite some time to rejig it, or perhaps it needs a little tweaking. But anyway, let's wait until I suppose we'll know tomorrow when the count is taken whether it is a yay or a nay, and then the politicians and the executive will get cracking. What I would say is, hopefully, this plan is coming just, April, May, about 7 weeks before we go to the polls again to elect our local district council. And I would urge you to think about the issues. Obviously, this initiative will be one of them. But some of the others are, can we get our system of government changed? The answer is yes, we can if we want.